So zucchini is in its peak season right now, and one of my favorite ways to cook zucchini without having to fire up the grill is to make zucchini pancakes with homemade ricotta.
This week on Working Class Foodies.
Ricotta is by far the easiest cheese to make yourself at home, and once you've made homemade ricotta, you will never go back to the grocery store version ever again. To make ricotta, all you need to do is add an acid to boiling milk to curdle the milk, which will then separate into curds, which are the solids, from the whey, which is the liquid. I used a quart of 2% milk. You can use whole milk or skim milk. If you're going to use 2% or skim, I recommend you add in about a tablespoon of heavy cream just to add a little bit of fat and creaminess to it. I brought my quart of milk to a boil, and then I added in 2 tablespoons of lemon juice to curdle the milk. 2 minutes later, my milk had curdled, and I poured the curds and the whey through a strainer lined with a paper towel to separate them. You can change the consistency of your ricotta by straining it longer. You can also use a cheesecloth to separate your curds from your whey. Whatever you do, don't throw out your whey. It's full of nutrients and proteins, and you can save it to use as a liquid for boiling pasta in, or feed it to your dogs or cats. They will love it. Once I had separated out my curds from my whey, I poured my curds into a bowl and mixed in some salt, some black pepper, a little lemon zest, and some pecorino. You can also flavor it with thyme or rosemary or whatever you like, depending on what you're going to use it for. Another important reason to save your whey is if your ricotta gets too dry as it cools, you can add a little more whey back into it to lighten it up. You can store your ricotta in an airtight container in the fridge for probably about a week, but if yours comes out tasting as good as mine does, you will want to eat it right away. It's pretty good. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it's time to make our zucchini pancakes. Zucchini pancakes are dead simple to make. I used 2 medium-sized zucchinis, one green and one yellow. And I started off by giving them a quick rinse and then chopping off the ends. Save these because you can either feed them to Humphrey or you can use them for making a fantastic vegetable stock later. Then I grated my zucchini. You can do this uniformly, and I'll use just one side of your grater, but I kind of like to go rustic with this, and so I changed the texture and the shape of my zucchini so I would get some pieces that were crunchy and some pieces that were soft in my pancakes. Once your zucchini is all grated, set it aside in a bowl, and then mix together in another bowl equal parts flour and seltzer water. I used 1 cup of each. The seltzer water helps create a light, airy batter, and it helps everything bind together without the use of an egg, which makes this recipe vegan-friendly, with a pinch of salt and a little bit of fresh black pepper. Stir the seltzer water, flour, and salt together until a soft, sticky batter forms. Then fold in all of your zucchini. It will seem at first like way too much zucchini, but it's actually not. You just want to coat the zucchini in the batter. Then heat an inch or 2 of olive oil in a pan, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. When the oil is hot, scoop out your batter and form thin pancakes, which you then will slide into the oil. It's important not to crowd the pan. I wouldn't do more than 4 pancakes at a time. Let your pancakes cook through thoroughly on one side, then gently flip them over and let them brown on the other side. Let the pancakes rest on a cooling rack set over a baking tray lined with paper towels for all the excess oil to drip off, and lightly season your pancakes while they cool with salt and freshly ground pepper. I like to serve my zucchini pancakes topped with my lemon-zested ricotta. It's a perfect side dish for 4 or a whole meal served with a nice, simple summer salad. Now, of course, you can adapt these pancakes and use almost any vegetable. You could do scallions for a sort of scallion pancake. You could use asparagus, probably even do beets. I think it might be really interesting with some fresh radish diced in. You can season these with any herbs you want. I went super simple, just with salt and pepper, but thyme or rosemary or even some dill would have been fantastic in these pancakes. The total cost for my homemade ricotta came to about $3.75, and the total cost for my zucchini pancakes came to about $3.50. So the total cost for my zucchini pancakes with homemade ricotta came to about $7.25 for 4 very generous side servings, or like I said, serve it with a salad and you've got a fantastic meal. Depending on the size of your zucchini, you'll get about 12 to 18 pancakes out of this recipe, and the leftovers are fantastic the next day, either reheated in the oven or actually just served cold with a little ricotta on top. So that's one of my favorite ways to use zucchini. Write in, let me know what your favorite zucchini recipe is, and if you've made homemade ricotta before, let me know how you like to flavor it. And we'll see you next week on Working Class Foodies.